We managed to manoeuvre ourselves a 2-0 shield advantage Shadow Quagman. What could possibly go wrong? The opponent going to fire off the avalanche, and we are going to burn the first protect shield. There's zero reason to try to catch, but we're going to try and make the catch anyway. The opponent reads me like a book, commit to the poison sting, farm down, then we get denied coming in. There is zero reason for me to overfarm. However, we're going to overfarm, end up playing to the CMP type. We do not win. Have we put on a 101 of how to throw a battle? We tank the Aquatail, return fire with our own Aquatail, going for the undercharge. The undercharge looks like a good one. We mudshot farm down, leaving with the Stone Edge, and then we ask ourselves, are you not entertained? As that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. Today was going to be a fun upload with me showcasing the power of Shadow Mawile and Gallade in the Galar Cup. Spoiler alert, I did try and use them and I got destroyed. I went 1-4, 1-4. After recently in veteran rank, I then found myself back in the low 2400s, as you can see on the screen. At this point, I've decided I'm not Callum on toast, I'm not a Spice Lord. Yes, I run triple shadows, but I get very frustrated with losing, especially with game issues. At this point, I just decided to use 3 powerful shadow Pokemon on the same team, a simple and effective team, and I had fantastic success. As you can see on the screen, after 6 sets, we've magically found ourselves at plus 226 elo, if my math serves me correctly. I always think I'm one of my harshest critics. I don't even think I played particularly well, as you're going to see in today's showcase. However, this team is very powerful, very effective. You can get either a shield advantage for Drapion or Quagsire, and you're pretty much off to the races. Today we're going to keep the intro short and sweet, so without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see alolan Ninetales into Gweezy. I've opted for Psyshock, essentially for this matchup, and some good neutral coverage. We force ourselves shield advantage pivot into Drapion, the opponent looking for the chip and dip action, and we're happy to just tank whatever they throw. The opponent actually opts for the bait, more fall on them. Then switch out into Diggersby, however the opponent's giving me a huge energy lead, and Drapion gonna do what Drapion does best and just spam charge moves at a very alarming rate. The opponent tanks the first Aquatail, they tank the second Aquatail, and I've actually realised here, I can flip switch advantage should I want, and I definitely do want to do so. Well, to be more precise, I either want to flip switch or force the opponent's shields down. If the opponent chooses to invest this protect shield, we are now in fire punch range, and I'm more than happy to let Drapion go down. I find it quite interesting here, the opponent again throw the Scorching Sands. However, I'm still worried they might have fire punch, so we're going to come in, look to catch the fire punch onto Quagsire. Clearly they didn't have it, as we're able to mudshot farm down. The opponent sends out Oranguru, say no thank you, I'm out of here, concede the match, and we're off to a 1-0 start. In the next battle, we see Deja Vu. We're going to play this exactly the same as we did the last time. It's kind of funny. Every single time I throw a Psyshock, every single person shielded. I believe in a later battle, I think, fuck it, we're going to go for a bait, and of course the opponent calls it. Again, I look to absorb energy on Drapion, but this opponent chooses to hold their energy and send out Unova Stunfisk. Kind of ironic, right? Galar Cup and Galarian Stunfisk isn't on the screen, we've got the Unova variant. I'll be honest, I have no idea on the rules of this cup, because it seems well random, as this clearly isn't Galarian Drapion. However, this opponent is going to be unable to Thundershock farm me down before the next Aquatail is reached. So once again, Drapion going to obtain a shield advantage here. I very quickly recognise the opponent is looking for that Thundershock farm down, so we're going to say get Snipe Trainer. The opponent clearly not a fan of the Snipe, and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see the Quagman in the lead. I'll be honest, I think most people are going to build to 7, looking to bait a potential Stone Edge and throw the Aquatail. So we're going to fire off first the Weather Ball, which goes unshielded, and we're going to say Trainer, enjoy yourself. Stone Edge me, I dare you. This opponent's like, thanks, I will. And of course we get nuked through 2 protect shields. We then send out our own Quagman. The opponent sends out Drifblim, and I look to return the favour. Does the opponent respect the damage? Oh man, this opponent making all the right calls, whereas I'm making pretty poor ones. Drapion, usually a pretty good Drifblim answer. However, after the opponent debuffs me, they're actually not going to get knocked out by 1 crunch, which is pretty awkward, as we're definitely not poison stinging farming down either. However, we should survive this Icy Wind, and we might reach the Aquatail to remove them from the field of play. The opponent's actually the one this time that snipes me. This opponent running rings around me. However, 2-shielded Quagman does still have a chance to sweep, as out comes a Flyer. We're going to shield up the Air Relay, so I'm then going to look to farm up, throw the Stone Edge on the CMP type, and of course we frame drop, because why fucking not? Niantic, please, for the love of God, fix this game. It is so bad. In fairness, this one Stone Edge isn't lethal, as you can see, but regardless of that, the game should work as intended. I know a lot of other content creators that don't want to be too harsh on Niantic. or play Pokemon as they have got associations. I don't, and I'm going to tell you how it is. This game really needs addressing because it is just an awful experience all around. However, despite that, I think that opponent played really well, and GG's to them. In the next battle, we see Diggersby in the lead. Not a bad matchup for us whatsoever. The Shadow variant of alolan Ninetales, believe it or not, actually gets two-shot by non-stab fire punches with the residual quick attacks. The opponent actually goes for the Scorching Sand, perhaps anticipating me shielding and fishing for the attack drop. However, I had no intention of shielding Ninetales as I do survive any one move as long as I don't farm up to a Hyper Beam. I'm more than happy with Ninetales' contribution. I just like to get myself a shield advantage for the Quagman and hope we can cook. We send out Quagman looking for that Mud Shot farm down. The opponent sends out Mandibuzz. I'm actually going to pivot into Drapion. Drapion doesn't have a great matchup into Mandibuzz on the Aquatail moveset. However, we are going to be able to get it low enough that I can just Aquatail it with my own Quagsire. And we want to keep this Drapion away from that Diggersby that is still alive. The opponent's now going to be forced to start going for Aerial Aces, or should I say Aerial Asses. You can see they don't really do a lot. Not that I can comment, as I think these Aquatails are actually healing this ever-annoying bulky Vulture. The opponent actually looks to make use of the Misaligned Timer, sending out Diggersby. However, Diggersby are not going to appreciate the Aquatail. Aquatail removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Mandibuzz, and the opponent opts to dump energy. We've now got a shield advantage and a huge energy lead on Quagsire. What could possibly go wrong? The opponent isn't in Aquatail range, so we full send the Stone Edge. Stone Edge picks up that one-hit KO, get that Mandibuzz off my screen. The opponent sends out the Nipple. Why are they playing this out? I have no idea. The only win con is me having a heart attack or the game lagging. In fairness, lag very much a win con at this point. As the game state is so bad, I'm actually going to shield up a Brine, trying to encourage the opponent to top left. The opponent finally recognise the game's over and do concede the match. In the next battle, we see Whimsicott in the lead. Another Pokemon I had no idea was eligible for the cup. However, I'm not complaining as this is a very nice lead for us. The opponent throws after only 5, so this can only be a Seed Bomb, which isn't all that threatening. They then send out a Rangaroo. I'm going to fire up a Weather Ball, which means one move from Drapion will now knock it out. You're going to see I'm going to throw one further Powder Snow, transfer the Confusion onto Drapion where it is single resisted, and again, just look at the state of this game, frame dropping left, right and centre. This, of course, a very dominant matchup for Drapion. I'm going to heavily overfarm before firing off the Crunch. To be fair, looking at this Poison Sting damage, I probably didn't even need to chip and dip, so that might be a misplay. The opponent opts to send back out Whimsicott. If this goes unshielded, I might actually shield once, Poison Sting farm down, and leave myself in a 3 versus 1 scenario. The opponent does opt to no shield, so we're going to go with that and see what's in the back. Out comes Diggersby, a Pokemon I personally nicknamed Thickersby, due to its ability to tank hits, but it's going to get overwhelmed. We've just got super effective charge moves here, there and everywhere. Aquatail, Force to Protect shield. Pivot out into Ninetales, the opponent shields that as well. And they're going to be so sad when we show them Quagsire. As I said in the intro, there's nothing all that fancy about this team, just 3 very powerful, strong top picks picking up wins. The opponent doesn't farm to Hyper Beams. This is an easy tank for us. The opponent fire off the Scorching Sands, I recognise it doesn't do all that much damage and concede the match. In the next battle, we see the mirror. If both you're on Powder Snow, you actually do need to land 2 Psyshocks in this battle. A Psyshock and a Weather Ball just simply doesn't get the job done. I don't know if it's IV dependent, but I know at least mine does survive on 1 HP and a Dream. And we're able to win the 0 shield if the opponent does go for the Weather Ball. We're not actually going to see the 0 shield here, but you are going to notice the opponent is going to go for a Weather Ball, so you are going to see I will survive. The opponent clearly didn't want to play to CMP, however we did manage to survive that, and we're actually going to get this thing fairly low and obtain ourselves shield advantage. Once again, we're just going to send out Drapion, commit to the Poison Sting farm down. Unfortunately, they are going to reach a Weather Ball, but it's not really a big deal. Drapion, always happy to tank a charge move, usually uses my team's Damage Sponge. We do get that Poison Sting farm down, leaving with residual energy, and out comes Mandibuzz. They're actually on Air Slash as well, so they are going to apply a bit more fast move pressure. We've seen Stone Edge does around 60%, so I'm going to fire off 2 Aquatails, putting them into Stone Edge range, and then pivot in, saving Drapion as a potential 3rd shield. I am going to shield 1 move here. The opponent on Foul Play, so I guess they're on Foul Play Aerial Ace. As I said, Aquatail won't get the job done, so ball in the opponent's court, we full send the Stone Edge, picking up the knockout, and out comes Diggersby. This is a situation where having Drapion alive is very advantageous for me, as it means if the opponent potentially debuffed me, I am going to be able to reset that debuff at some stage. You can see we force the shield and manage to land an Aquatail before the opponent gets that debuff. I am going to shield this move, thinking they're unlikely to bait the first time. We're now in the guessing game. I'm thinking, when does the opponent throw? They actually throw instantly. However, we are going to survive this. We've seen Scorching Sands isn't going to get the job done. I just pivot out into Drapion, looking to reset my debuff. This Aqua Tail just guarantees my own Aqua Tail will be secure in the knockout. That is bearing in mind that I do need my Charge Moon to show up, which isn't always the case, but this time game does work as intended, and we're able to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we're actually playing a friend of mine. With that in mind, he knows I don't like to bait, so I'm actually going to play this one slightly different, building up to a Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam would pick up a one-hit KO. Of course, I'm running Psyshock, but you've always got to fake it till you make it. We throw the Psyshock, forcing ourselves shield advantage, and then look to reach the Psyshock, but lose CMP. If my opponent goes for a Psyshock, I'm going to be sad. Luckily, they go for a Weather Ball, thinking it will knock out. And once again, we see exactly what I said in the previous battle. It simply doesn't. We're able to survive on quite literally 1 HP and a Dream. I send out Drapion, looking for the Poison Sting farm down. Smartly, my opponent pivots out, not giving me any free farm, and out comes Quagsire. I fire off the Crunch. Crunch will put this more or less into single Aqua Tail range with the residual Mud Shot. Mud Shot has been reworked this season and actually now does apply somewhat of fast move pressure. I'm almost certain I know what's in the back. It's going to be Thickersby. This, of course, is a team that Zeraphel Rose put out, and my friend King GBL has also been running to great success. We force the Protect Shield with the Aqua Tail. My opponent sends out Ninetales. I'm just going to shield, Mud Shot farm down, and look to leave with all the energy in the world. I've now got to be super disciplined to see what comes out. I'm looking top right. Is it going to be Quagsire or is it going to be Diggersby? Out comes Diggersby, and it's time to start spamming out these Aqua Tails. The first one lands. We are going to be able to reach the second one, and that looks like CMP. However, that's only 5, which is a Fire Punch. Again, we are low, but Fire Punch simply will not get the job done. I am worried that I might get sniped, so I'm instantly going to pivot into my Drapion. Back out comes the opposing Quagsire. We make the Aqua Tail catch onto Drapion, and from here, we're off to the races. We're just going to outspeed everything to our own Aqua Tails. One Aqua Tail will remove Quagsire from the field of play, and the next Aqua Tail will be knocking out Diggersby. And I'd like to say a big GG's to my boy, Bill Paulsman, one of the Fight Club OGs. You'll get me next time, buddy. Heading into the next battle. We Alolan Ninetales into Gastrodon. Pretty neutral matchup, I suppose. It's going to be quite dependent on whether the opponent full sends an Earth Power, or we call a bait and the opponent body slams. We fire off 7 Powder Snows and the Weather Ball for optimal fast move timing, and of course we're looking to call the bait. The thing is, when you're using Shadow Pokemon, people love to bait. So we call the body slam, which enables us to reach 1 further Weather Ball, which certainly puts it in a range where 1 move will knock out from either of our back 2 Pokemon. We just about miss out on getting off the next Weather Ball. Unfortunately, we don't get damage registration error, but it is what it is. I am going to respect the Earth Power this time, and we correctly shield that up. Despite the rework to Mud Shot now doing more damage, I'm unable to Mud Shot farm down before the Body Slam's reached, but Body Slam, a dreadful move now. That did literally nothing. The opponent then sends out Mandibars. We're going to full send a Stone Edge. You know the drill. Does the opponent respect the damage Stone Edge lands? Then going to look to make the catch onto Drapion. Hello game, any chance you'd let me switch? That's super frustrating, because if I would have been able to switch, the opponent did go for the 1 and throw, so I could have kept my Quag healthy, but luckily we do survive the Dark Bolt. The opponent lets me farm a boatload of energy and then send out Ninetales. That fast move timing was atrocious. That was on me, but the game, dropping yet another frame, wasn't. I should have been able to 1 and throw. Oh gosh, why do we play this game at times? However, we should still be sitting in an alright position. I do undercharge, anticipating it not knocking out, but this Mandibuzz is in trouble. Drapion isn't in 1 move range, and they're kind of forced to start shielding. The opponent reluctant to shield that move up. We're going to survive this move. Despite this battle running like trash, the next Aqua Tail will be forcing the shield, and we've got an Aqua Tail banked on Quagsire. The opponent recognises the game's over and do concede the match, but my god, that was shambolic. In the next battle, we see Mandibuzz in the lead. I opt to build up some energy and then send out Quag. I'll be honest, after the last battle, I think I should have went straight to Quag, but it kind of is what it is. I do kind of need switch, to be honest. I don't really want my Aqua Tail Drapion along with that Mandibuzz, because it's a dreadful matchup. The opponent gives me a protection, and I know I'm outside of crunch range. So we are going to tank this move. The opponent again go for the Aqua Tail. I look to fire off the next Aqua Tail, losing CMP. However, I'm more than happy to shield this up, knowing the opponent can either go 2 shields down or we just keep the alignment we want. If the opponent fights super hard for switch, this should ring alarm bells, meaning they've probably got a very hard answer for me in the back, probably a double poison. However, I'm reluctant to shield such a low health Quag. I'm just going to send in Drapion, look to poison Sting farm down, hope with an energy lead we can cook. I could have made this battle so much easier for myself. I could have just went straight to Quag. As soon as they sent out Drapion, I wouldn't be in this position. I have got shield advantage. However, is it going to matter? Not particularly, as of course I've got a very hard Ninetales answer in the form of Toxapex. We are going to be able to land back-to-back side shocks. I'm going to farm up, throw the second one on the charge attack priority, but Drapion on Aqua Tail just simply cannot deal with that Mandibuzz. I think this is one of the main reasons I don't play GBL that often. The last battle just had me super tilted. Despite getting the win, when the game just runs like trash, I just get proper pissed off, I'm going to be honest. I lose all composure and end up playing like an absolute potato. Yesterday's upload, we gained like 250 elo. I started like 3 days ago. Well, I say 3 days ago, it's more than like 2 weeks ago. However, I played 3 days of GBL, so 15 sets. I've gained like 450 odd points. You'd think I'd be pretty happy, but let me tell you, despite that insane run, I still am not enjoying this game whatsoever. I understand the idea is to win, however I don't really care that much about winning. Of course I've hit legend multiple times. Do I really care about rank? Not really. I'd rather have fun battles. Like I'd much rather just run some absolute glass cannons with the game running well, and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. It's cool. However, what we do need is the game to work as intended, which simply doesn't happen right now. Let's try and return to the commentary before I go down a super deep rabbit hole. Speaking of which, you know I said earlier, everyone shields the side shot. We go for a bait, and of course the opponent calls it. We do manage to catch the player off onto our Drapion. The opponent then sends out their own Drapion. However, they're going to be unable to poison Sting Farm me down. They are going to need to throw at some point. Quite an interesting team from this opponent as well. ABA Poison. There are ground types. A lot of teams are even running double grounds. I've got no idea how this team deals with that. I'm quite surprised the opponents actually opted to shield just to commit to a Poison Sting Farm down. I don't really think this energy is going to go all that well into my Ninetales. We're just going to sack it, put it all on Quag, and hope Quag 1v3s. Let's go, Quag, man. Let's go, buddy. I think the opponent here makes a mistake. They would have been up to a crunch. I definitely would have considered shielding. However, they did not. They then send out Gallade, and I'm like, uh-oh. Of course, we're going to get one shot by a Leaf Blade. But the question is, does an Aqua Tail knock out Gallade? The opponent farms up to the double. So I definitely think if this Aqua Tail knocks out, we are off to the races. I did consider undercharging at the time, but I thought it would knock out. Nope, miscalculation. Although in fairness, both Pokemon are quite low. Can they reach a charge me? They send out Drapion. Drapion will reach the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, we've already seen, isn't going to knock out. We've now got the Aqua Tail banked. Bit of a shambolic game. But if you're climbing, sometimes that's how the game goes. I think after this battle, I actually put my phone down thinking my head definitely isn't in it. You can see we did the final battle of the set very late at night. I actually went out with my eldest son and my missus. I thought, fuck it. GBL, not for me. And let's go have some fun. We actually played some laser tag and went for a Nando's. I'm not sure if a Nando's is a worldwide thing, but I'm sure anyone from the UK knows Nando's is pretty good, although very expensive chicken. I think even by my own, a very low standard, this video and the commentary has been well random today. I suppose we'll try and do some commentary in this battle. You can see he was able to win charge attack priority over the opposing Drapion. They give me a Protect Shield, then send out Frostlass, which I definitely don't think is the correct play, because they're now going to be forced to completely sack this or go all shields down. We've now set up Quagsire with a 2-0 shield advantage. What could possibly go wrong? Well, we've seen today, we've been getting very tilted and we managed to throw. Well, I say throw, we've actually won some battles that I've played really poorly, but perhaps this one's a throw. I guess we're going to have to find out. Well, there's a good start of throw. We make a catch for no reason whatsoever, catching the Avalanche onto Ninetales. Well, I say no reason whatsoever, I'll be honest. We're here for the entertainment, and are you not entertained? Ninetales fires off the Psyshock. Psyshock isn't quite lethal. The opponent then sends out Drapion. Drapion does get the Sting Farm down, but that just gives Quag even more energy. Again, this is only an Aqua Tail. The opponent didn't fancy reaching a crunch. You can see they could have reached it. However, even that wouldn't have knocked out. The opponent tries to play me 2 CMP. However, I know I lose CMP, so I was never going to throw. We're just going to shoot out the Avalanche. Mudshot Farm now. I hope we can nuke whoever's in the back. We can kind of nuke this, unfortunately. It isn't a Shadow Drifblim, so Stone Edge won't pick up the one-hit KO. But a cheeky little Aqua Tail will get the job done. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. What is on my screen? Crostal. I do stay in to check the quick move. If it was Fury Cutter, it would be a pretty good matchup for us. But that is certainly Smackdown. And despite it being nerfed, it's still doing a lot of damage. I pivot into Drapion. I'm happy to invest the Protect Shield and just keep farming. And I do know that one Aqua Tail isn't going to knock out. The opponent, though, does give me that Protect Shield back and then send out a Bomber Snow. Bomber Snow not going to appreciate the crunch. Not this is going to force a shield. I think no one's running Sludge Bomb in this meta. However, the opponent does allow me to reach an Aqua Tail, so we have got the opportunity to flip switch or force the final shield. The opponent farms up to the double. I'm very reluctant to shield a low health Drapion. However, sometimes this game isn't all that complicated. Get the correct alignment and you'll win the battle. I'm a sort of player that relies on a spammy hard hitting mon like Quag with a shield advantage to sweep. However, sometimes that isn't possible as out comes Whimsicott. And I've already thought, damn, we've thrown this. What is my win con? I'm thinking Quag just simply isn't going to be able to deal with this Whimsicott. So we're going to trust in Ninetales. I'm going to shield one move. Unfortunately, we can't play to CMP as Whimsicott has got a higher attack, so I can only throw 4 here. Which actually means that we're going to have to task Ninetales with tanking 2 Smackdown. Smackdown has been nerfed this season, but they are a shadow. We won and throw the first one. One Weather Ball isn't going to be lethal. Psyshock does do slightly more, and I think arguably that would have knocked out. But I went for the double Weather Ball play. Luckily, we survived on 1 HP and a dream, and just about managed to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Drapion on the lead. This isn't actually a bad matchup, as no one's running Sludge Bomb. I actually banked the Weather Ball, pivot into Drapion. That chip damage should mean that 2 Aqua Tails will actually knock out the opposing Drapion, whereas mine will not, as Poison Sting of course is resisted, whereas the Powder Stones do hit for neutral. I was expecting the opponent to make a catch at some stage, however we do finally throw the Aqua Tail. And there is the catch. I didn't even see that coming in. However, we're still going to reach a Crunch, and Crunch will be forcing a shield or securing the knockout. The opponent chooses to give me that Protect shield. Switch timer pops up. We send out Ninetales. Ninetales forces the final Protect shield. This is only an icy win, or at least so I thought. This opponent's actually running Mystical Fire. That is the first one I've seen run Mystical Fire. However, regardless, it doesn't knock out. We're able to reach the Weather Balls. The opponent's kind of burnt 2 shields and still lost their drifblim, which is well random. Out comes Ferocilas. We got Quagsire. We're 2-0 shield advantage. We find ourselves surely in an unlosable position. But buckle up. This is the Jamie Finn 101 on how to throw a game. Of course, Avalanche is probably the hardest hitting move left in the game. We shield the Avalanche. I could just Stone Edge there, as Stone Edge would have knocked out Drapion, which we need to deal with. I'd actually go for a catch for no reason whatsoever. Then out comes Quag. We get denied, so everything's going wrong. There again is no reason to overfarm. End up overfarming, playing to the CMP type. I do not win. What the heck am I doing? How do I even make videos on Pokemon Go PvP? I'm thinking I'm playing terribly. However, occasionally make a good play. We undercharge, get the Mudshot farm down, leaving with the Stone Edge. I guess it's entertainment, right? And are you not entertained? We somehow managed to almost snatch a loss from the jaws of victory. Something like that, right? Moving on to the next battle. We see Ninetales into Drifblim, a very nice lead, and very questionable why the opponent's staying in. Despite me being low, the opponent is going to need a Shadow Ball to knock me out, or have Mystical Fire. But I don't think we're going to get Mystical Fired again. Or are we? Not that I've really paid any attention to this meta. Do people run that? I think Icy Wind and Shadow Ball does make more sense. I guess some people are probably opting for the double Horny for the debuff moveset. I've once again found myself in the position we like best. We've got Quag with a 2-0 shield advantage. The opponent pivots into their own Quagsire, and I'm going to mirror. As I was Icy Wind debuffed, I think that Crunch is better saved rather than throwing it. Again, we get some frame drops. However, we do see we lose CMP, and that is good information to know. Shadow on Shadow, 2 Aqua Tails with the Mudshots do knock out, but of course we're going to have to throw the next one before the opponent reaches their own Aqua Tail. This Aqua Tail will be removing Quagsire from the field of play. We know Drifblim is still alive, and we're certainly not going to be able to Mudshot farm him down. The opponent goes for the show and go, perhaps trying to catch an Aqua Tail. All they catch is a Stone Edge to their face. We then send out Drapion. Drapion going to fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail actually isn't lethal. This is only a brutal swing, but Drifblim won't be reaching another move, so I'm just going to shield this up. Poison Sting farm down, fire off the Aqua Tail at Drifblim, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Ferrothorn in the lead. A pretty neutral matchup for us. If the opponent builds to 6, I'd actually probably consider shielding. The opponent doesn't farm up to a Flash Cannon, although my god, I've never seen Mirror Shot do so much damage. Although in fairness, we are double weak, as both Fairy and Ice take super effective from Steel. We are going to be able to reach one further Weather Ball. Weather Ball isn't quite lethal. I'm thinking that looks like Sting farm down range. They've already revealed Mirror Shots. We know they're not going to have Thunder or flash cannon, so we can just farm this down for quite a lot of energy. I'm just really hoping I don't get debuffed, although in fairness I could just reset it. I doubt they're going to have an ABA grass team. Drapion does get a massive poison sting farm down. Out comes Mandibuzz, and I very quickly wish I would have kept my A9 alive. You're going to see very shortly this team is so incredibly weak to ice. Holy cow. Out comes Shadow Drifblim. We don't often bait, but I can smell when an opponent is planning to shield. This one isn't even a bait. This is just an Aqua Tail, but still the opponent's like, nah, I'm just going to 2-shield. And Jamie Finn, going to do what Jamie Finn does best and save them shields for next season. I am actually going to play this out. I know it's IV dependent. If we win CMP against Drifblim, I've got a little bit of attack on my Drapion. We do lose CMP. I am going to shield this up. We're going to be like in the same scenario as earlier. My Drapion just isn't going to be able to output enough damage to get rid of Mandibuzz. Yep, Jamie Finn still pretty washed up, but we're on a pretty good win streak. On Aqua Tail, this is a pretty bad matchup with the best of times. With a -1 attack, I think it's going to take like 4 or 5 Aqua Tails to knock this thing out. Perhaps 4 will do it, but we are actually going to outpace. I always moan at other people wasting my time. I'm here wasting the opponent's time. I do shield this, but the opponent is going to be able to outpace me to the next area days, and there's 0 chance that Aqua Tail even knocking out. And unfortunately, we're going to take a loss. GG to that opponent. In the next battle, this is very much a yikes lead. We've got 2 better responses in the back, of course. We're going to utilise a Drapion to save switch. Whenever I see top specs in the lead, I always just keep farming, knowing the opponent is going to eventually pivot at some stage. I like to have energy to potentially flip this matchup, but I'd love to get Quagsire aligned against that thing later. Out comes Charjabug, another Pokemon, I'll be honest. I had no idea this was Galarian Charjabug. I'm just kidding, but I didn't know this thing was eligible. Electric, pretty much a myth in this meta, to be honest. We managed to force ourselves shield advantage. I'm going to shield here. We're going to either force the opponent all shields down or take back switch. Ball in the opponent's court. Arguably an Aqua Tail would knock out from here, but we play it safe. Fire off the crunch, forces the final protect shield, which is going to send out Ninetales. The opponent can throw whatever they want. If they've got discharge, so be it. We're going to get a farm down, bank the Psy Shock for later, no one wins CMP, and pivot into the Quagman. I show him Quagman, and it looks like the opponent is lagging, but you're very quickly going to see eventually they do come back into the game. I think they just put their phone down, to be honest, as what's in the back is something that doesn't appreciate Quagsire with a shield advantage. The answer is going to be revealed to be a Bomber Snow. This is the final battle. I think this gets me this 4-1 to like 26, 34 or something. When the video or these videos were compressing, it takes my phone like an hour and a half. Despite using the S24 Ultra, it's super slow. So I played another set, went 4-1, and that got me to the 26-62 you did see earlier. I don't particularly think I played all that well. Not that I played terribly. Sometimes we played alright. I was just trying to have some fun. It's a pretty boring meta, pretty basic team. We're just here for some entertainment. If you want a strong team, this one certainly has play. You could obviously make a few more optimal plays than I did, but you get the idea. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to the battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.